Hey guys, welcome back to Favorite Iron Customs. I'm Michael, and today we're back working on the F1. So I got a little bit of the shop cleaning done, and, well, I say cleaning loosely. The shop is not clean, but I did get rid of some stuff, and I managed to get the Y block over on that side of the shop and out of the way of where we're working. Now, before I get throwing too many sparks, I probably need to grab something and throw over the top of the engine. So what we're going to get into is I've got the 9-inch sitting here, and we're going to start pulling the other rear end out of the truck and setting up the 9-inch so we'll have it in the correct place so we can start making our brackets and our bars for the rear of this truck. So let's jump into it. Okay guys, I'm taking just a break for a minute. I got a good bit of the welds ground off of the 9-inch axle. I think, y'all saw me cut the pads off, and I went ahead and cut the shock mounts off. We won't be able to use them in their location. We're going to have to relocate them. I may save those tabs for reference when we get ready to build tabs for the shocks, but it might be a good idea to hang on to the bolts. You know, the last time I went to buy bolts, they were very expensive, even by the pound at the Tractor Supply store. Anyway, anywhere you can save yourself a few dollars, you know, save it if you can. So, like I said, I'm just taking a rest. I got the old axle cut from the parallel 4-link, and as soon as I get the rest of this weld ground off of this 9-inch, we're going to slide it under there, and I want to get it mocked in place. It needs to be really close to where it's going to be, or no, it needs to be dead on where it needs to be so far as forward and backwards in the truck and side to side in the truck. And we also need to go ahead and set the pinion angle. So with this, I'm going to set the pinion angle at 1 degree. We're not going to have a tremendous amount of adjustability once we get it all welded in. I watch Aaron over at Garage Fab quite a bit, and he says that you don't want to have adjustability in your links. And if you really think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because I don't know if y'all could tell whenever the axle dropped. And I'm playing with 2 cameras right now. I've actually got one running slow motion. I mean, not slow motion, but one running time lapse. And I'm playing with the rate on. I'm playing with the rate on the time lapse on the other camera, just to see, try some different things on videos. But anyway, I know I just went off on a tangent. But if you really think about it on a 4-link, and if it's something like a drag car that you're going to be checking the suspension quite a bit, and maybe even tuning and changing the suspension depending on track conditions, having adjustable links is one thing. But having a street car with adjustable links, and you're going over bumps, and your suspension flexes one way or the other, and you've got to think about it. If your suspension flexes and you got right-handed threaded nuts, well, right or left-handed, because your suspension is going to flex either way, and it depends on which end of the bar it is, but you're actually taking that rod and you're flexing it. And how much does it have to flex before it actually backs off and that nut is no longer holding your rod in one place? And now you don't have your jam nut creating that tension against the thread, and you don't have a solid rod. You have a rod that's riding on threads, and it's sitting there, if that makes any sense, that it's sitting there moving up and down and wearing those threads, and at some point it could pull out. So if you've got adjustable inserts on your suspension components, it's probably not a bad idea to check them every once in a while and make sure they're tight. And we'll leave it at that. So I'm going to get these ground up, and when we come back, we're going to have the 9-inch back underneath the truck. Hey guys, it's the next day and we're back at it. Where I left off yesterday, the time lapse run out, the battery ran out in the camera. So I centered the axle up, got it square to the truck, lined the parallel 4-link bars back up, set it at ride height, and I tack welded it momentarily in place. I've still got the stands under it, just to make sure it doesn't move at all. Before I went in, I just kind of off camera, I started cutting the bottom link bar. And what we're making our lower link bars out of is just a piece of 2x2 box tubing. I cut it out on the mill. I still have one left to do. So I'll probably just set y'all up on time lapse. So what I'm doing is I'm drilling a hole. I need a smaller bit, but I do not have the correct, it's not called a chuck, it'll come to me later. But I do not have the correct size for this is like 6 millimeter is what this pin is. So I drilled it out the quarter, kind of ran into a little bit of drama with that situation. So let me get y'all set up, and we're going to knock this other one out and go from there. Okay, guys, what I was trying to get out a while ago about the mill was the collet. It's a mill collet. I don't know if y'all noticed in the time lapse, but I bent the pudding out of my adapter when I was fixturing up that piece of 2x2. When I cut it the first time, I had it supported on both ends with a block, and that's where I messed up. I should have supported the other end with a block so that it didn't take off whenever it broke through. So no big deal. We just broke a little bent an adapter. That's fine. The mill seems to be fine. Big deal. No big deal. We got the mill cleaned up. I got those lift bars welded up. I'm gonna let them cool off. I'm still kind of thinking about what I'm going to use for the front brackets for the lower links. I did get that piece of 1/4 inch to build those brackets out of. I've actually got to reinforce this chassis, and I'm going to need to have be able to cut holes with those hole saws that I have, the annular cutters. And since I bent that adapter, I don't know how fun that's going to be. I do have a 3/8 collet, so I may be able to put the annular cutter right in the mill with a collet. We're going to try that. But anyway, so here are, this is one of the lower links. When I marked these out before I cut them, I just found 24 inches and used the 2-inch size annular cutter to cut it out with, so that puts the center at 24. Now what you can do is there are aluminum slugs that will fit in these where you can create a fixture and make sure nothing moves. Well, I just fixtured it to the table as best as I could, welded it up. We're going to roll with it. If you want to get crazy, you can. And it's all in what you want. Like I said, this is just a little shop truck. I ain't building this for nobody but me. We'll cut it there for right this second. We're going to let these cool off, and I may get back out here this afternoon and do a little more work. Alright guys, it's been several days since I've been out here. We've had a lot of cold weather. Actually had our oldest dog, Amelia, got sick and died earlier this week. So, that we were dealing with that whole situation. If you've ever lost a pet, it's like losing a family member. So, what you saw me doing a few minutes ago was cutting out the frame. And now what I'm doing, I've kind of changed my mind about what I'm going to do on this. We're going to actually do what they call a 6 link on this, and I may actually do a Watts link for the center and the rear end. I got to think about that. So what I'm doing right this minute is boring holes in this 2x3. They're going to stand up in the truck like this, and we're basically going to create a cross member across here, and this 4-link is going to weld in this hole and come back to the axle. And this is going to put the 4-link parallel to the ground at rod height. Alright, so I'll show you what I got. Excuse me guys. I'll show you what I got set up on the mill right now. I'm just getting to the second one. The first one I didn't have fixture to the table as well as I do this one. So what I've done is I've just indicated, you can see that I've indicated the piece of 2x3 to the mill head. We're within a thousandths. I'm gonna call that good. This ain't got to be like mill perfect. I'm using the mill because I have it. What I'm doing is using a 1/2 inch mill and punching through. I've got it marked out. I need to get some Dicam because this is very hard to see. Punching through, cutting a square, and the 1/2 inch mill is what the radius is on the 2x2 box tubing. You don't have to have a mill to do this. I'm using my mill because I got a mill. A matter of fact, it'd probably be faster just to drill the holes and use a zip cut blade to cut the square out. And then you may have to clean it up a little bit with a carbide cutter on a die grinder. So I'm going to get this other one cut out, and then we're going to come back, okay? Guys, I wish I had the camera rolling just then. I don't know if y'all have noticed in the video, but I have the skeleton set up in the shop in the background in a few places. And I looked over there and about scared the hell out of myself. As I forgot I stuck him there. Woo! Anyway, so this is all we're doing. Like I said, milling a hole. It's ready. I'm going to run into the house for just a few minutes, and we're going to come back and get back into making this bridge or cross member, and hopefully get this stuff, this 4-link, finished installed today. And then the next video on the truck is probably going to be on the 2 rear links on a 6-link, and we'll get into what a 6-link is if y'all don't know in the next video. Also, I'm going to make a decision about the Watts link, and the reason why I'm thinking about a Watts link is I just really don't like the way the Panhard bar runs from left to right in the truck, you know, the way the chassis is designed. I think it would, anyway, it's going to come down to preference, and I'm overly complicating something that should be really simple. When I was originally deciding to do this truck, I was going to just do bags on axle and let it ride, but the more I thought about it, bags on axles ride really harsh, and a way to make them ride better is to put them on a bar, and if you set the bag, say this is a 24-inch bar, and they usually say 2-to-1, so that would be 8 inches from the pivot point you want the bag mounted, and that would give you a 2-to-1 lift, but it would also give the bar a mechanical advantage to help make the ride softer, if that makes any sense. Anyway, we'll be back in a bit. Okay, guys, that's about as far as we're going to get on this one. I'll show y'all what I've done. I really hadn't done anything. I just basically flipped the 4-link over to the outside of the frame, and that's where the 4-link's going to be. I cut the chassis for these uprights that I'm making. And like I said, I've cut this at a 22.5 degree angle. We're going to cut another piece at a 22.5 angle, and then the last piece will make it go flat. 22.5 and 22.5 is 45. That'll make a right angle to go to the other side. It'll just kind of make it look a little nicer than running a piece of flat bar across there. I had thought about cutting that out of plate, but you know, we got the 2x3, that's what we're using. So I haven't welded anything up on this because I need to cut out a piece of 3/16 plate that's going to come probably up here. It's going to triangulate back down to the chassis on both sides to reinforce this upright, and then we're going to box it on both sides. So that's going to be plenty strong when we get done to it. I kind of hit on doing a 6-link. All right, guys, I don't know if y'all can see that very well. What the 6-link is going to do is you have your normal 4-link in the front, and in the back you have a 6th link, and this link can't be connected solid to the axle like your 4-link is. It's got to be connected with like a shackle, so it's able to pivot, because as the axle swings down on the 4-link, it swings in an arc, so it can't swing in an arc both ways, if that makes any sense. We'll get more into that in the other video. But what we're going to do is build a bracket, and we're going to put the bag right about here. and it may be a little higher up. That's why we got to get 4-link set up first. And the bag will be back here, and it'll push down on this bar and create your suspension. It's kind of like a, I don't know. We're getting a little crazy here. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's get after it. The next video on this truck, I hope, is either going to be the weekend after Christmas or the weekend after the New Year's. Next week's video, I hope Valerie wants me to go ahead and do what I need to do to get her car back where she can drive it. We still got a few things, a few odds and ends to do that. So next week, that's what I'm going to do. I've also got to run and get with the guy that I bought the engine from to get the air cleaner for the engine. I also want to see if he's got the bell crank for the engine still. What else? Supposed to do some sanding on Glenn's golf cart. You know, stuff. Anyway, life, guys. December's going the way, not going the way I wanted it to, but it's going. So if I don't see y'all before Christmas, in which I should see you, like I said, next week on a video, Merry Christmas, and I'll see y'all later.